Cue the crash outs.
The Indiana Fever has fallen to the Dallas Wings.
And there's a clear case to blame head coach Stephanie White.
Stephanie White just completely went off.
Stephanie White made poor coaching decisions.
The results, an absolute disaster.
A 21-3 run at home by the opposing team is the Dallas Wings, and they're not any good.
That Stephanie White threw this game.
It was embarrassing.
The Fever just collapsed again, and fans have had enough. Stephanie White's coaching is a disaster, and without Caitlin Clark, this team looks completely lost. Missed timeouts, bad rotations, and blown leads. It's chaos.
Weird lineups at weird times, no timeouts controlling the game. That is basically how a coach can change a game. So the Indiana Fever the Wings went on a 19-0 run.
If you stand with Caitlin, drop a comment. 100% for Caitlin. She deserves better.
Their best player is sidelined, in Caitlin Clark, of course.
It was one of the most embarrassing meltdowns of the season. The Indiana Fever gave up a 19-3 run, followed by a 21-3 explosion, at home to one of the worst teams in the league.
They went on a 17-3 run in the fourth quarter, got down by 1 point.
The results, an absolute disaster if you'd said it from the start of the game. Like, if you had said from before the game starting that we were going to lose to the Dallas Wings.
The Fever fought their way back into the game late against the Dallas Wings, who are not a good basketball team. The Wings should, be ashamed of themselves for even letting the Fever sniff a chance at victory.
And what did Coach Stephanie White do during this collapse? Nothing.
The Dallas Wings went on a 19-0 run, and we're sitting there. Wait, did we call a timeout? Was there a timeout called during this 12-0 run?
This game, that Stephanie White threw this game.
No timeout, no adjustment, no leadership. Fans watched in disbelief as the Fever, down just 1 point with 12 seconds left, couldn't even get a decent shot off. Natasha Howard secured the rebound. Kelsey Mitchell got the ball and just dribbled in circles. No play call, no urgency. White waited until there were only 1.7 seconds left.
That Stephanie White had to call a timeout with 1.7 seconds left.
Fever got the ball with 12 seconds to go and a timeout. What exactly was Stephanie White saving this timeout for?
Before calling a timeout,
Natasha Howard gets the rebound, gives it to Kelsey Mitchell until there is 1.7 seconds left, and Stephanie White panics and calls a timeout.
Kelsey Mitchell played well enough, had a terrible brain fart. Oh my goodness, a terrible brain fart with 13 seconds left.
By then, it was too late.
A lot of people might be mad about that timeout Stephanie White called, but if she had not called that timeout, they would have turned the ball over.
The final shot? A contested fadeaway three.
Final play of the game. Natasha Howard, please, just don't, when you get the rebound, just don't say to yourself, it's time for me to go coast to coast. We don't call a timeout at the first case, we don't call a timeout at the second instance, and we don't call a timeout the third time. Instead, we wait until the last possible second to call a timeout. And then we draw up a terrible end of the game play to Kelsey Mitchell coming right in front of the inbounder, grabbing the ball, shooting a fadeaway three that goes off the top of the backboard.
That smacked the top of the backboard.
And then did y'all see the ball at the end? At the end, hit on top of the hoop.
But it wasn't just the final play. It was the pattern. Chloe Beebe came in and hit back-to-back threes, had 11 points in 12 minutes, and sparked the team's comeback.
Chloe Beebe is a shot maker. She is a shot maker. She shoots the three. It's like she doesn't care whether it goes in or whether it misses. She knows as soon as it hits my hand, I'm throwing it up there.
So what did Coach White do? She benched her.
Chloe Beebe, she only had 12 minutes, 11 points. 3 for 3. I told you, bro. I told you. Stephanie White liked to reward people when they do good by putting them on the fucking bench. There's no way she's coming out the game and she's shooting like this. We scored 13 points in the quarter. She's actually saved us the first half. The minute she came in, she started shooting threes. Why is she not playing in the fourth?
Sophie Cunningham was hot, gone in the fourth. These are decisions no winning coach makes. Stephanie White's substitutions felt random. The Fever scored just 13 points in the first and 13 in the third.
why we're having quarters where we're scoring 13 points? Can somebody tell me why we're having quarters where we're scoring 15 points?
Yet nothing changed.
15 points in the first quarter. When we come out the half, scoring 13 points in the third quarter. When the team seems not ready to actually play. When we have a coach that allows the Dallas Wings to go on a 19-0 run without making any adjustments.
The team looked flat, confused, and unprepared.
Team wasn't ready to play, it didn't seem like. And that comes down to coaching. The coach needs to get these ladies ready to play.
This isn't just a loss. This is coaching malpractice. When you give up massive runs, sit your top scorers, and draw up nothing in crunch time, you're not coaching to win. You're coaching to survive. If the coaching wasn't bad enough, the officiating in this game made things even worse. Over and over, viewers watched Paige Buickers push off Sophie Cunningham with both hands. And somehow Sophie was the one getting whistled for the foul.
The referees being so incompetent. Paige Buickers can land on somebody's foot, flagrant foul, 3 free throws and the ball back. Kelsey Mitchell can land on somebody's foot, just a common foul. Here, go take your free throws, and Dallas Wings will take the ball the other way. We have Sophie Cunningham going head-to-head against Paige Buickers, smothering Paige Buickers. Paige Buickers pushing off.
No exaggeration. On multiple plays, Paige used clear offensive arm shoves to create space. And instead of an offensive foul, Sophie Cunningham was called for the violation.
Paige Buickers can literally shove Sophie Cunningham with 2 hands, shove Sophie Cunningham, yet the foul is on Sophie Cunningham. It's bad enough when we have that going against us.
This wasn't a one-off situation. It was consistent. The whistles were lopsided from the start.
Paige Buickers, good God, she's got the whistle. I think the only person that's got a whistle bigger than Paige Buickers has got to be Asia Wilson.
Paige could land on someone's foot and draw a flagrant. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell, or Sophie, could get hacked at the rim. No call. The double standard was blatant. One creator even said, "Paige's whistle is so strong, it makes Asia Wilson look like she doesn't get fouled." That's how bad it was. But here's where the blame comes back to Stephanie White. A coach's job is not just to draw plays, it's to defend your players, especially when they're being disrespected by officials.
A 21-3 run at home by the opposing team on you when the opposing team is the Dallas Wings and they're not any good. Once again, the Indiana Fever come out into a third quarter and they got embarrassed. It was embarrassing. It really was.
White never stepped up. No challenge, no visible pushback, just silence. Her players were being physically punished on the court, and she let it happen without resistance. And that silence extended beyond just the refs. It was on the bench too. Assistant coaches sat frozen, watching as key players like Sophie Cunningham and Chloe Beebe got benched during pivotal moments. Sophie was one of the few players bringing energy and hitting shots, 14 points on efficient shooting. Yet in the fourth, when it mattered most, she was nowhere to be found. Benched.
They didn't even give the damn ball to Sophie Cunningham.
And it wasn't just her. Chloe Beebe was on fire. 3 for 3 from deep. 11 points in 12 minutes. She helped lead the second half rally. Then got glued to the bench.
Chloe Beebe, 11 points in 12 minutes. Chloe Beebe needs 15 to 20 minutes a game. Easy. 15 to 20 minutes a game. We need her on the floor with Sophie Cunningham.
How do you bench your hottest shooter when you're down by 1 in the final seconds? The answer is simple. You either have no strategy or no accountability. Even Lexi Hull, who's known more for her hustle and defense, was thrown into offensive roles she wasn't ready for, and she finished with 0 points in 25 minutes. Meanwhile, scorers like Sophie and Chloe sat. Rotations were all over the place. Players looked confused about roles. And the energy from the bench? Non-existent. Nobody challenging calls. Nobody correcting mistakes. Just chaos and silence. There was no leadership, no adjustments, and no urgency from the coaching staff. And when the referees clearly favored Paige Buchers, the Fever were left out to dry.
We have the referees going against us.
Abandoned by the people who are supposed to protect and guide them.
At very least, the WNBA needs to change their review system.
Aaliyah Boston and Lee. And then, of course, Paige Becker shoving Sophie Cunningham and Sophie getting that foul call.
The Indiana Fever were already shaky with Caitlin Clark on the floor. But now that she's missing, the entire foundation is crumbling.
Their best player is sidelined. In Caitlin Clark, of course. Her replacement is out for the season. The only other capable person of playing that position is also out for the season.
And it's exposing every flaw fans suspected, but now can't ignore. Let's start with the most obvious truth. Caitlin Clark was the glue. She didn't just bring highlight plays, logo threes, and sold-out arenas. She brought structure, pace, and leadership. The moment she stepped off the court, the Fever transformed from a dangerous young team into a disorganized mess with no identity. And that's not just on the players. It's on the coaching staff that had no backup plan. The Fever have no late-game strategy without Clark.
They turn the ball over actually more without Clark than with her.
When the game is tight, it becomes give the ball to Kelsey Mitchell and hope. But game after game, Kelsey has shown she's not a closer. She dribbles out the clock, forces off-balance shots.
Kelsey Mitchell loves to shoot threes at the wrong minute. Even at the end of the game, instead of her trying to get to the rim, get a foul, get a layup, get a something, she shoot a damn three. When the game is on the line, do not give her the damn ball.
And burns time without creating offense. In this most recent game, with a chance to win in the final 12 seconds, she dribbled in a circle while 4 teammates watched, until Stephanie White called timeout with just 1.7 seconds left. No play drawn, no screens, no design, just chaos. And remember, this is a team that fought back from 17 points down, cut the lead to 1, and then fell apart. That's not a talent issue. That's a coaching collapse.
You're always rallying back, but they losing these damn games.
Even more frustrating, the very players Caitlin Clark elevates are struggling without her. Aaliyah Boston, a former Rookie of the Year, is no longer dominating in the paint. She looks hesitant, missing layups, and failing to assert herself. She was outplayed by Lee Ueru, a bench player who dropped 20 points and
Sophie was on her shooting shit, 5 for 10, 2 for 4 from the three. She had 14. Kelsey, 7 for 15, 24 points. Aaliyah Boston, 4.
2 threes on her.
Aaliyah Boston, you got burnt by Lee Ueru, the Chinese 7-footer. Came off the bench, 20 points. 2 threes.
Aaliyah Boston, 14 points, 5 boards. She got dominated by Lee from 3. Ueru.
Multiple fans pointed out that Aaliyah looked like a regular player, and that should never be the case. Why? Because with Caitlin Clark on the floor, Boston gets cleaner looks, easier passes, and space to operate. Without Clark, she's forcing shots in traffic, getting collapsed on, and playing passive. Clark didn't just help the offense, she created it. Same with shooters like Sophie Cunningham and Chloe Beebe. When Clark is running the offense, they get open catch-and-shoot threes in rhythm.
This game, that Stephanie White threw this game. The result's an absolute disaster if you'd said it from the start of the game. Like, if you had said from before the game starting that we were going to lose to the Dallas Wings.
With Clark gone, they're relying on broken plays and improvisation. No system, no flow, no fire. And let's talk about that system. Does one even exist? Because without Caitlin, we're not seeing a fallback offense. We're seeing confusion, players standing around, possessions where no one knows who's taking the shot. Veterans like Natasha Howard are dribbling coast to coast. Centers are initiating offense. Point guards are off ball. It's chaos, not basketball. Now let's get to the real issue. Clark was being blamed. Before this meltdown, some people tried to spin the narrative that Caitlin was messing up the offense, or that the team needed time to gel without her. But now that she's gone, the team has gotten worse.
You, Kelsey, and Clark is part of the core of this Indiana Fever. Not Natasha Howard, not Sophie Cunningham, not Sydney, not Ari, none of them. Clark's not here. Your ass is supposed to be stepping it up.
Dramatically worse.
Clark come back. Don't let Stephanie White say, oh yeah, she messed our offense up. Okay? This is still a decent team. This is the coaching.
They're turning the ball over more, shooting less efficiently, scoring fewer points per quarter, and giving up massive runs. Without Caitlin, they can't even beat a team like the Dallas Wings, who were 8-24.
How the Indiana Fever lost to the Dallas Wings, a team that has not won 10 games yet.
Let that sink in.
They wasn't even turning the ball over this bad when Caitlin Clark was playing.
Caitlin Clark didn't break this team. She was the only thing holding it together. She was the floor general, the stabilizer, the reason fans believed in a rebuild. And now that she's sidelined, we're all seeing what she was covering up. Poor rotations, no game plan, and a coaching staff that can't adjust on the fly. Stephanie White isn't building around Caitlin. She's exposing her to failure. And let's be clear, the WNBA has never had a star like Caitlin Clark, someone who brings in millions of fans, TV deals, and corporate partnerships. But none of that matters if she's stuck on a team that doesn't know how to use her, or worse, blames her for their own incompetence. Fans aren't blind. They're watching the tape. They're seeing the same patterns. And they're starting to say the quiet part out loud. This team isn't struggling without Caitlin. They're falling apart.
Cue the crash outs. The Fever lost, and there's a clear case to blame head coach Stephanie White.
The Indiana Fever has fallen to the Dallas Wings. Stephanie White made poor coaching this thing.
Stephanie White just completely went off.
This isn't just about one loss. This is about a pattern. And fans have seen enough. Stephanie White's coaching has gone from questionable to reckless.
Stephanie White made poor coaching this thing. Just the same damn song.
Blown leads, benched shooters, wasted possessions, and no accountability. And now, with Caitlin Clark off the floor, the entire system has collapsed. It's clear, Caitlin wasn't the problem. She was the only thing holding this together. But how long can one player carry the weight of a broken franchise? If the Fever want to build a future around Caitlin Clark, it starts with leadership. Real leadership. Because she deserves better. And so do the fans.
When Stephanie White leaves, tell her to take her fucking her other coaches with her. Because y'all are the ones sitting on the bench watching this shit. Watching us lose.
To show up night after night. Drop a comment below. 100% for Caitlin. If you stand with her, and if you believe it's time for change, let your voice be heard.